housing price is your basically output variable or target variable or the thing that you want. And the features, right, are basically square feet, number of bedrooms, locations, etc. These are also called as input variables. And whatever you multiply these variables with, in our case, it was m into x, where m is a parameter and x is your input variable, right? So you can increase or decrease the square feet. So the m, the weight that you're applying, right, it is called as parameter. So m1 or w1 into x1 plus w2 into x2. So w1 and w2 would be parameters, whereas x1 and x2 would be um, your input variables or features. We'll start in a minute. I'll just switch on the video cam. Yeah, so there was another question. What are dimensions? Dimensions are basically whatever input variable that you have, right? Um, Input feature that you have. For example, it was square footage or something, right? How many number of points you require to represent a single data point? So, do you require 3 points uh, to explain a single data point or not? Right. So dimension refers to the number of input feature variables which is used to represent a single data point essentially. So if you have 100 characters like bedroom, bathrooms, uh, I don't know, age, crime, etc., our data is very high dimensional, right? So your one data point would have all these parameters. So that is what is dimensions. So let's start with the lecture today. This is going to be a hands-on lecture, so I would love if you guys uh, participate because that's it. That is how you are going to learn. Okay, so we'll start with something called as prompt engineering. Let me switch on the recording. Yeah, sharing my screen. Got it. Screen share is available. Can someone confirm? Is the recording has also started? I think it's paused.
Recording in progress.
Yeah, I started it again. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has started.
Yeah. Thanks. I believe it was Manisha. Yeah. Thank you. Cool. So one of the most practical thing which you would use in your day-to-day life as well. Something which, in terms of company, right, how we use it, we'll try to use it in that fashion itself instead of the normal fashion. So we would try to get an output which is more accurate from a usability point of view. right? So let's start, try and understand what does prompt even mean, right? So ideally, the idea of prompt was the prompt is basically an input or an instruction that you give the model. The model, basically large language model. The reason large is written is because it was trained on so much data, and we learned that from deep learning to Gen AI. Gen AI is a branch of deep learning where uh, you give a lot of data. It doesn't just categorize or predict. It also creates or generates new information, right? So a simple prompt like this, like explain photosynthesis, would give an output which would be very big in nature, something which we have seen in the previous session, right? I just wrote something and a lot of text came up. Uh, but ideally, a more usable prompt would be that explain photosynthesis in three simple points. You can, of course, depending on who do you want to explain, you can write bullet points suitable for a 10-year-old kid, right? So prompt can be written in a way where it is more useful and in a control format. The way we are going to do this session, we are not going to go through the slides first. We are directly going hands on. And once we start doing hands on, I believe we will understand the slides better, essentially, right? So, what I'm going to do is we are going to pick a problem statement of my company, Prism Force. And just give me a second. I'll just tell you the problem statement. Next, leave 18th April. Your objective is to create a tab. You can just hit the plus icon, create a tab, and put your name here. So, for example, I've just put mine. Your objective is to put your name here. Let me just write this thing so that you can maybe directly click and duplicate and put your name, right? Let me just fill the information, prompt and response. Right? Let me do some sequence. So let's start with the problem statement. Everyone, please pay complete attention for now. So my company, the idea is to create AI interviews, right? It has three main parts. The first part is asking the right questions or the question bank. Um, of course, it has a lot of parts. Dynamic questioning. If you answer something, there will be a follow-up question, etc., and so on and so forth, right? But we would say that question generation is one of the parts. Second part is proctoring, basically catching the candidate during cheating, or it comes under the interview experience during the complete interview. The third part is the crucial part is assessment essentially. So once you have question and once you have answered, the candidate answered the questions, you basically have to assess how good the answer was. How much do you want to score it? How much do you want to rate it? Right? We'll start with the first part. We'll pick something which is more um, common to all of us. The idea here is that you will create a tab with your names in it. You can just create duplicate of this. And our objective is to create a question bank for the skill SQL or SQL, right? That is the Uber level objective that will try to create this question bank. Now, the idea of creating question bank is this. So if you think logically, right, there are thousands and thousands of tools or skills that are available, right? So when a company is sort of creating this, it is not feasible that I go and ask each and every person of that domain and get the responses, right? It is very difficult. It is a time taking process, etc. What I can do is maybe I can use an LLM to create the questions. And once the questions are there, I can test on those questions, figure out which questions are bad or which skill is not covered completely or is not able to assess the candidate better. And then we can ask questions. We can ask whatever tool, the tool that is not, we are not getting questions, we can go to the domain expert or subject matter expert and get the questions for us, right? So that is the objective, is creating a question bank for SQL. Okay. Some rules. Rule number one, we will always so let's align this thing. Use only one model, right? So if you're using ChatGPT, use only ChatGPT. If you're using Gemini, use only Gemini. DeepSeek, then only DeepSeek, right? So we are not going to change models, right? That is condition one. Condition two is, we'll start with the number of questions. The count is only five questions. So what I want you guys to do is create a tab here. We are going to write a prompt and see what response we are getting, right? So whatever prompt you want to write. Um, Rule number three is, don't ask ChatGPT or don't ask Gemini. Write a prompt for me for SQL or anything. It won't help us. It will completely defeat what we are doing here, right? So we want to learn. We don't want to give solutions to AI. That is not what we are here for, right? So let's say I ask this question: can you give interview level questions for SQL? Since we have put a condition, a constraint, which is five, can you give five interview level questions for SQL? You can write it in your language. It doesn't matter to me. So I have copied this. I'll copy whatever I have written. This is my first prompt. I'll just paste it here. Whatever solution we are getting, right, I'm going to paste it here now in this. So I'm just going to double tap here and paste it. We'll just increase this a bit. Yeah. So I'll just paste it here. Maybe I'll increase it more. Yeah. So this is the first activity. I want you guys to put a one liner or two liner, and we'll go through the responses of people, what output we are getting. The idea is that basis will make the prompt better and better and better. And hopefully we'll reach a stage where we have a great prompt and we are getting great questions as well, right? So that is the idea. I'll share the sheet now with edit access. If anyone has questions, feel free to ask. Just create a tab, duplicate this tab and put your name on it, right? So that it is easier to evaluate. We are learning. I've given an example of mine. So that is the objective. So click on the link. Let's go. Let's start. So the first prompt, I want you to put one liner or two liner, right? Not more than that. So that we think on the responses and make the prompt better. That is the idea. So first, hopefully everyone just create a tab. It's a practical discussion. This is how evaluation happens. This is how prompts are made better, actually. It's not in an Excel. We use different files. You can imagine a CSV. So you have some prompt, you have response, prompt, response, prompt, response. For a single prompt, you have like thousands and thousands of response, which you compare with thousands and thousands of responses of other prompt. And then you reach that this is the best prompt for me for this model. So the same prompt, let's say I wrote a prompt, good prompt for GPT, may not be good prompt for Claude, or may not be good prompt for Gemini, right? Only four people have created this: Manisha, Anuja, Lakshmi. Rest of the folks, Abbas, Archana, Arjun, Harsh, Bonasina, Prem, Rohan, Sridevi, Tarun. Can you guys go and uh, do this? At least create a tab first so that everyone, I understand that everyone is at least on here. right? Once you have created the tab, you can just right. So we have 14 folks, only 3 plus 3 plus 2, 8 people have created it. Uh, can you guys first create the tab? Arjun, can you just first create this? That I'm same Prem. Okay, Prem has done it. Rohan has done it.
Hello Ji, I'm
Sri
Vaibhanshu.
Devi has also done it. Tarun has also done it. Harsh, can you create the tab?
Alright.
Okay, got it, Arjun. Harsh, can you create it? Faiz, Faiz, can you create it? I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. Abbas, can you create it? Yeah. So, task one, put a one liner or two liner prompt to GPT or through Gemini or to any other model that you use on a day to day basis and copy the response. There is button in every this thing. So you can see, everyone can see here, there is this copy message, this symbol. I can copy here. Similarly, for output also there is a copy message like here, copy response. So you don't need to select it. You can just copy response and paste it. Quicker, faster, neater. Right? So you guys go through it. You guys do it. I'll start. Some people have basically put responses. I'm going through their responses and we'll start the discussion actually. Right? So you guys put it. I'll just go through some of the responses. Prem Devi, can you just write it out? It's not that difficult to write prompt, to be honest. We'll start the discussion in 2 minutes. Don't, no need to analyze the response. We'll analyze it together, right, as a team, and then make a better prompt and keep the process on. Prem Devi, you are feeling any issues, anything? If your laptop, etc., is getting stuck, we can learn from other people's responses as well. It's okay if your laptop or system is getting stuck. We will go through some other responses so that you understand how we are uh, evaluating things, right? Okay. So let's go through the responses, right? Uh, we'll start with Arjun. We'll take three responses, three or four people's responses. I believe things would be similar for others as well. We'll start with Arjun, right? Arjun, is it okay if you unmute yourself?
Sure.
Yeah. So Arjun wrote, I would like you to suggest me the most important and commonly asked questions in an interview related to MCQ. Give me 5 questions. Got it. Okay. So uh, uh, this is what the response we have, right? So we have got some, I would say, jargon at the top, which is not useful. It's not a useful information, right? This is the main question that we have, and it gives some sort of an explanation. It gives which concept it is hitting. It is also giving definitions, etc. It is also telling me why it is asked, essentially, right? Right. So we have reached here, and now our objective is simple. We have to create a question bank. Now, in your question bank, you will have the question, right? One of the columns will be question. So your question bank would sort of look like this. Just giving an example. So you would have, let's say, question, and let's say what is, just give an example, left join, right? There might be some other columns as well, which with more information regarding this question. It would be C1, C2, and so on and so forth, right? So we will figure everything out. But in general, the idea of what we want is we want a list of questions. Of course, if there is extra information, that is great. In this case, right, we have already learned that we have to control on the output. Because if we are doing it for the enterprise, right, for us, this thing will increase the size of the tokens, essentially, right? The number of words will increase the token length, which will increase or reflect in cost, right? So what you do is how you develop a good prompt, you write some prompt and you see what kind of output you are getting. Now you don't want this jargon, right? So that is what we are clear. We just want, let's say, question and question number, maybe the numbering and what the question is. We maybe don't want this thing, the extra explanation. So in Arjun's response, I'm getting inner join, left join question. I'm scrolling down. It is having where and having clause. Second theoretical question. It is asking me to differentiate between rank, dense rank, row number. This is third question. CT versus subquery, fourth question. And how do you optimize a slow running query, right? But ideally in SQL, if you when you practice, queries are also asked actually. This is, to be honest, theoretical questions. Everything is theoretical, right? So your prompt needs to do two things. One is you need to add things in your prompt that, hey, the question should be in the question or the response should be in this format. We can decide on the format what we want. It can be as simple as this. It should be in this format. Prompt things that, let's say, Arjun have written dot 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 dot. The response should be in this format. Uh, so there are different formats, JSON or dictionary or etc. So you can write this. So it should be in this format. Q1 question 1, Q2 question 2 written here. I'm sorry, question 2 dot 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 dot. Yeah. So this is one format, right? There can be different format. It can have JSON format. It can have different format, right? So you need to tell that in your prompt. You also need to tell that it should contain queries as well, right? Because your question bank should not be only theoretical questions, right? So this is like quick feedback. What we got, not feedback. This is how we'll improve the prompt because I told you to write one or two sentence, right? We'll quickly go to others. So if you see Prem's response, Prem has written 0 to 1 years of experience. Give me proper SQL, proper question, data set. So he wrote data set. That's why he has got data set, whatever format it is, but he has some kind of data. Now the issue here is that you have got only queries. So this is query 1, query 2, query 3, query 4, query 5. You don't have a different question type. So there can be 2 or 3 different question type. One is query, the second is theoretical, right? So, and of course, we have got the solutions as well. We, to be honest, don't require the solutions, right? So your prompt also need to have that information that no solutions, no solution should be provided, uh, no explanation on how the solution has been arrived, etc. It should follow a certain format like Q1, Q2, right? So I'll pick another one. Someone maybe will pick here, we'll go fourth. So here, act as an interviewer. Okay. We'll discuss this, why this was written later. So I think I'm picking Lakshmi ka response. So Lakshmi has written create 2 basic and 3 intermediate level questions. So she is saying that I want 5 questions, but I want those at different difficulty levels. What does that mean is that this column 1 can be difficulty. So I have a question and this can be easy, right? Sort of an attribute of the question. So this is what she is doing. Again, it's a one-liner prompt. We are not optimized anything. We are just going through different responses, how people are thinking, and then we'll make our prompt better. Okay. Now this is query, but it doesn't have the data set which Prem had. This has the schema. We call this schema that you have the employees table, employee ID, first name, last name, department, salary. You have been given a task and you have been told to sort the results, right? It doesn't have the data set. At times, it is okay to not have the data set, but you need to give the schema. That is compulsory in SQL questions. So again, these things are not needed, right? In the interview, I would not say counting the crowd like this. I won't take interview questions like this, right? I will just have the question, right? So that is one. Again, we don't need this thing, interview note, etc. Right? I'll just take last one, and then in the next round, I'll take the people whom we have missed. So we have, let's say, we'll take Harsh because it is in line, and then I can easily remember. In Harsh case, right? It is again sort of a similar thing. What it test, um, question, what is the heading of the question, etc., etc. What it test, etc. Right? So I believe same feedback as we have given earlier. So I'll take a pause here. The objective here is to come up with uh, understand what should my prompt include, right? What things my prompt should not have, right? We have learned from pricing point of view that output ko to control karna hai. We have to control the output, right? So we want just questions, so we'll have questions. So it should be Q1 question 1, Q2 question 2, Q3 question 3. For now, you can skip the difficulty part or the extra columns part, right? Uh, so else the data will be like this: Q1 question 1 and give difficulty as well. Q2 question 2 difficulty, Q3 question 3 difficulty, and so on and so forth. Right? Now I want you to improve your prompt and rewrite your prompt in the second section, all of you, so that you have data in a structured format, which is Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, Q5. It can be different numbering, it doesn't matter. You have control on the output. That is one. Second, you can maybe create a column question type. You can give 2 question type. One is query, one is theoretical. That is second. Third is we don't want answers. That is for sure, right? I don't want answer in my question bank. Question, at least where the column where my questions are, right? So no answers. So in the prompt, you should write there should not be any solution or any hints towards the solution, right? This is 3. Yeah, I think let's start with this three, right? Then we'll go more. You again can go to ChatGPT and write or make your prompt better. Same thing, copy your prompt here, paste it here, copy it, copy the response, paste it here, right? If anyone has doubts, you can ask, but others can go to ChatGPT and write this out. No, so question type basically is coming from this. So if you see Prem's data, Prem's questions have only queries, write a query for each, identify the user. It's basically query. You need to write queries here, right? So I'm saying that query writing is one of the question type. And if I see Arjun's response, these are more theoretical questions. What is the difference between inner join and left join? So this is a theoretical question type, right? There are more question types which we won't go into. For now, there are only two question types. Just an example of more question type is like debugging questions or like filling the blanks, right? This dash, this. So instead of dash, it might be where clause or row number, etc. Or debugging question type. So there are different types of question types. For now, we are just focusing on theoretical and query. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Yeah. So I'll create a sheet which is named as issues so that whatever we are learning, right? That is, this is what actually happens in job. Of course, not a direct one-liner prompt. We think on the prompt, we get a lot of responses and then we compile. You guys go and go to ChatGPT and uh, try to solve whatever issues we have gotten. I'm just writing the issues here in case you guys forget. You guys have 3 minutes to do it. 3 to 5 minutes. Let me just start the timer. 5 minutes. I think that will be better. There are different formats you can try. It's not that it's fixed. We are learning. It doesn't matter. So I'm just writing some quickly, but it doesn't matter. If your response doesn't contain question type as well, that is also fine. We are just making our output better, cleaner, so that there will be hopefully by the end of a session list of questions which you can practice on SQL. You guys have 2.5 minutes. We'll start Ulta. Let's see. Right. So I believe Rohan is yet to do it. Tarun is pasting it. We'll go forward and maybe close the folks towards the end. So we'll see Manisha's response. So earlier Manisha wrote this prompt, and now there are some issues, of course. Not issues. There are some things that needs to be taken care of. It already has a schema, but it doesn't have. It just gives some concept, some jargon up, etc. Right now, give me 5 questions in a structure format like Q1 level. Okay, with a combination of both query and theoretical questions. We said don't add any solution to the question. Got it. Got it. So you still got the first line. So you need to make sure that you write it, that just give this response. So that you need to like sort of command GPT that don't do this, don't have any extra information. And you also need to tell GPT that this thing is also not required, also answer, right? So what happens is, this is something I believe you have not used in any of your classes. But whenever we want to get things in a certain format, right, we give it in JSON format or dictionaries like in Python. So you would need to give some sort of input like this. So give me output in this format only. So you need question and my mistake, question number, and whatever question description here, like this, right? And this would be, let's say, question number one. I'll just copy it, and this will be two, right? Now, this thing, right, you would need to give this in the prompt itself because when you give or clear the format, right, then it follows that format. The reason to do this is since you have already done SQL, if I tell you to pick this column, right, so you will be able to pick if it is in a consistent format. Here, right, it is not in a consistent format. It has this thing. So let's say you wrote level, if you want difficulty level as well. So you can write here difficulty, right, and do this and get the difficulty level as well, whatever it is, right? So, but then you need to put a bracket here, put a bracket here, so that you understand things easily. So, what I'm trying to say that you need to follow sort of a format. So I tried doing it here. This is something that I already did. This thing is not required. This is sort of a useless thing for now. So I gave that give me an ID earlier question. So this is question description, this is question ID, and this is difficulty. The format that I'm following is this curly brackets, if you see, right? This curly bracket and this curly bracket. So this is sort of the format that I'm following. This is JSON format actually. So you might not be aware of it, which is fine. But what we are trying to do is we just need a one consistent format like this. So we have ID, question, difficulty. You can add question type as well, right? Here. That is one thing. Did you write? So this is why I say this is a prediction model. In her prompt, she has not written, give me follow-up questions. Hopefully. At least I don't see it here. And I'm hoping earlier also she has not given any prompt here. But she is getting follow-up questions. Explain the difference between where and having. This is a follow-up question. Why can't we use having without aggregation? We are not looking for follow-up questions for now, right? That will be a different field. That will be a different column. So this is one thing which I feel we should not have for now. Rest things are good, sort of what we wanted to do, right? Let's go to other things, other tasks. We have
Ujjwal,
Anuja. Yeah.
I just wanted to know, rather than writing the entire format, can we just ask ChatGPT to give me the entire answer in JSON format?
The answer is yes and no. You can ask it, but in the event, you have a lot of fields, right?
Yeah.
It messes up. So you give this format as well. So sometimes if there are less number of fields, it gives accurate output. You can try it out that give
Mhm.
me data in JSON format. 90% it will give you good results like this. But
Okay.
in a company, right, you would have actually many more columns. You would have the ID, question, difficulty, category, subcategory. There are answer as well. Might be your question bank might concern answers as well. We don't know. For now, we don't want that answer thing. So the number of fields keeps on going, right? So uh, GPT basically messes it up. It's a prediction model. So when you try play with more data, right, it will give inaccurate results.
Let me try with this as well. Let's see what result
Yeah.
did I get. Yeah.
Let's go Anuja. So Anuja has got questions in a structured format. If correct me if I'm wrong, Anuja. Did you copy this question one by one? Yeah, you copied the response here.
I copied, like I clicked on copy button and copied all the response, not one by one.
Yeah, got it. So this is like a neater format. You just have the relevant information. So let's see what her structure was. So could you provide? So she has written Q1 colon question one, Q2 colon question two, and so on and so forth. So she has got this format, right? Now this is usable format actually. As a person who is a data analyst or a business analyst, you will have this is a tabular format structure. Q1 question, Q2 question, Q3 question. You can easily run queries on it. You can easily do things on it, right? So it's more neater. Issues, not issues, uh, but there are some things which are incomplete, right? So write an SQL query to retrieve all customers who made at least one purchase in last 30 days. You need to know the schema here, right? I don't know customer schema. This is a theoretical question, which is good in itself. This is theoretical. Theoretical will work. This will work. This will work. This will. This is okay. Got it. So in terms of questions, right, it is good what we have got in terms of responses. It needs some additional things like the schema. It needs one more additional thing, which I'll just explain after evaluating the other output. The issue that we are getting is we are getting questions of similar category. So I'll just explain that in a minute. So we have Sridevi. Sridevi, which is the prompt here? There shouldn't be any hints or answers in the question that are asked. Is this the prompt?
Yeah, that's the prompt and the writing for the responses.
So you need to give this condition, right? Only 5 questions. We can't forget that. That is rule number 2. Yeah. And it ended up generating, to be honest, a bad output because think about it, right? Everything is theoretical. I don't see anything which is query based. Like this schema, right? I'm not sure there is any question for this. There is no question, right? So from if you think, right, um, maybe you need to change the wordings here. You have written, think about it. So you have asked ChatGPT, give me questions based in theoretical and query format. These are different wordings. And then you have asked, give me schema for query based questions. But you didn't ask query based questions here. You have asked query format. It is a different language actually. So you need to ask, give me theoretical and query based questions or questions which require the candidate to write queries. You know? So yeah, we'll go back. Okay, we have one more. I believe this is not the upgraded prompt. Makaila, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Did you change this prompt? I believe it's the same prompt across all the versions. So it is giving you the same answer, which was the first one. Can you change the prompt? Till the time we'll go to Tarun. Tarun, we'll just go through Tarun's prompt. He's yet to paste this thing as a senior. Got it. Got it. Also, a cute question. Okay. So, what Tarun has done, right? I'll talk from the prompt perspective. He has given some sort of a persona. We'll discuss that in a minute. This is the persona that he has given, that as a senior SQL domain expert, right? The second thing he has done is, I believe someone else also did it, interview the candidate of 2 years of experience, right? So you're asking questions basis 2 years of experience, right? Ideally, your prompt should not be like this. The reason for that is all the complete question bank that you will get, right, will be for 2 years of experience. In my opinion, that is not a question bank. It is uh, a question bank for a small segment of users the question bank generally is for everyone. You can have extra field like we discussed, right? I think in which, yeah, you can have an extra field like difficulty or uh, role, or you can write for which years of experience this question should be asked, right? But your question bank should contain everything. It should not be just for 2 years of experience. Now, if you are preparing for your own interviews, then also I don't think you should write this 2 years of experience, because at times people ask questions of 3 years of experience, right? So you won't know it. So maybe if you are if you have 2 years of experience, prepare till 4 years of experience, something of that sort. Regarding this, I think the format is neat. It is clean. Only issue I have is data headers, no data, right? The right wording would be schema essentially. So you have learned SQL, right? So you know the word is schema. So you can paste it here. We'll go to Rohan. Rohan is yet to paste it. Harsh, I need this question bank format. The format should be. So you, Harsh, you have formatted this, right? I don't believe this response would be through ChatGPT. I doubt.
Yeah, I just formatted it.
No need to format it, yeah, because if you format it right, then it won't help.
But the table is same as it was given by the ChatGPT.
Can you copy the response and paste it here directly? Like
Okay, and just a minute.
Yeah. So this is the response that I've been given through ChatGPT. This is the JSON response. So let's say I copy this JSON. There's a copy button here. I'm pasting in Harsh, but ignore it. So I'm getting output in this format. This is a consistent format. Now, of course, when we are seeing it, it doesn't seem consistent. But actual mein, if you put it like ID, you can do some manipulations through Python, and you get ID, question, difficulty, concept tested, follow-up questions in different columns, and you evaluate, right? So that is there. So we have basic, intermediate, difficulty, business impact. Okay, you can have it. Personally, if you it is very rare that people ask questions regarding the business impact and business outcome, right? We'll go to someone else, Prem. So Prem also has written. Prem, you have written this prompt through ChatGPT, yeah? Oh, okay, okay. Because I was thinking, what is this? Like how you can write it, right? So let's read this. Now I'm actually creating a question bank for a hiring company platform. Okay, good. So they need a list of questions without solution. Good. The structure should be that after that the okay. As either it is okay, good, a mix of query solving and conceptual questions required in these 5 questions created. Need to change the language, but got the idea. No more fluff or extra words are required as an output. Okay. Okay. This again 0 to 1 should not be here. Structured exactly as you requested. Kanaya Nab. I'm not sure what it is. But yeah. Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. So this is query. This is also query. This is also query. This is also query. Okay. Just a second. Okay. Write a query, explain the fundamentals between data set not required, label, concept theory. Uh, in my opinion, this is also cleaner response. It just needs some colon or something or comma to differentiate between question one, the question description, data set, label. But it is sort of a cleaner response because you can divide it if we had those columns or something, right? Some delimiter, comma, colon, etc. I can divide this question to question description, data set, label. Question 3, this, question 4, this, question 5, this. Got it. Got it. So we have where and having question. We have write a query to find the number of disputes, percentage of this, the percentage. This is gen question. This is if there is a tie. Okay, this is also sort of max question, highest total listening time, or you can use Windows function. That is also fine. CTE, okay, right, got it. Now the main problem that we guys run into, right, in general, every language, every tool has some categories, some subcategories, which are important. So in SQL, one of the most important subcategories is joins. Second would be, you have of course other things as well, like where, like, wildcards. Then you have aggregations. Then you have Windows functions, how to write subqueries or CTE, etc. Right now, what ends up happening in real life? This is a real example. I was creating questions for Java. What ended up happening is that all the questions came from only one or two categories or subcategories, right? Now, if you test a lot, right? Currently, we are just testing 5 questions, but let's say we told it to create 20 questions or 24 questions. And if we went through the subcategories, we would see that most of the questions are of a similar category. So, what we needed to do is, this is what we call as parallel, or maybe you can use two prompts. What we did is we told GPT that break this skill, let's say SQL, into 6 to 8 subcategories. We got the subcategories, and then we made sure that we have at least 3 to 4 questions in all subcategories. It's not just joins. We are covering the complete skill, right? Because the idea is that we should be asking question in such a fashion when we are giving an output, when we give that SQL mein this guy is 5 star during assessment, we mean that this guy, our questions are designed in such a fashion that they cover a good portion of the skill. They cover some part of the skill. We are not here for random questions, right? I'm not going to ask what is SQL in an interview. What is the full form of SQL in an interview, right? So that is one thing. So we can make this prompt more better, more richer, uh, etc. So let's go to slides. We'll come back here in a minute, in some time. We'll understand how prompting works. There are some things that some people have done, so I want to discuss those things as well through the medium of slide instead of Excel, right? So let's start. I think you would understand most of the things now. It should not be difficult. Why prompt engineering is important? It improves the response accuracy. It reduces ambiguity. You don't have random things flying around. You can control the output. You can reduce hallucinations. This is something that we have not encountered for now, but it is also one of the things which happens essentially, right? Without clear prompts, LLMs would provide generic information or essay type information, or sometimes incorrect information as well, right? Um, Types of prompting. I'll just I just want to let you know what the names are, what we were doing. They have some standard names through industry. Zero shot prompting. What does this mean? You are giving a prompt, but you are not giving any example. So the prompt, the model, performs the task using its pre-trained knowledge. An example of this: translate the following sentence to French. So the sentence is, I love machine learning. The translation would be in French. You will get the output. I'm not giving an example that translate the machine. I'm not giving an example like sentence, this thing. I'm not giving the French translation, and I'm not providing another sentence to it. I'm telling what is the response in French. I'm directly asking for output. I am not providing any examples. If you don't provide any examples, it is called as zero shot prompting. I'll give an example. What does example mean? That is called as one shot prompting. So basically, you give one examples. What it means is that review, I love the new UI. It is so fast, right? So we are basically categorizing the responses and reviews. into positive, negative, etc. So the prompt would have that at the top. I have just showcased the example. So this is the example. And now I am asking that, hey, this is the review. The app crashed twice while I was trying to pay, but the customer support was helpful. We are asking GPT what should be the response here. Now GPT has an example to look forward to. It knows that this was some example that is something which I am going to consider the format of it, the type, whatever it is, positive, negative, neutral, etc. So when you provide one example, it is called as one shot prompting. When you provide zero examples, it is called as zero shot prompting. When you provide more examples, it is called as few shot prompting. An example of this is, let's say I want to classify customer tickets. So this is my input prompt. This is the input. I'm giving the category. So the input is my card was charged twice for the same order. Category is billing error, priority is high. Then I'm providing a different example. How do I change my password? So category is account access, priority is low. Then I'm giving another example. And then I'm asking output for the fourth example. So now ChatGPT knows what kind of output I'm looking for, what is the output format, and what categories I'm looking for. So there are 3 or 4 categories which I'm looking for. If I've not mentioned it here, right, then I'm looking for 3 or 4 categories, right? So first is zero shot prompting, zero examples, one shot prompting, one example, few shot prompting, many examples. What is the advantage of this? So one shot prompting, it is good for simple formatting or controlling the output. So the output format, you can control it better. It is more reliable uh, in uh, in terms of, if we talk about reliability, right? Few shot is more reliable. The reason for that is, if we give just one example, right, the model focuses only on that example. If the example was about a positive review, the model focuses only on that one example. Ideally, you should have list of examples and the model should see, okay, there is wide variety, and then I can make the output better, seeing the wide variety, right? Few shot is generally given in terms of complex writing or big task. We have not yet done a big task. I'll show what a big task look like, how big a prompt goes. It goes to 200 to 300 lines. I'll show that in a minute. But the point that I was trying to make is that few shot is good to handle all your edge cases, to handle complex logic. It can happen that in the review category thing, right? There might be some edge case or weird case, right? We want to handle that. So you can give example 1, which is a normal case, example 2, which is a normal case, example 3, which is a weird case. Now, when you give this information to the model will give good output to this cases going forward, right? So I'll take a pause here. Understood what is, these are some nomenclature which I am just telling you in case someone asks you, right, what is zero shot prompting, what is one shot, what is few shot. You will be asked what is zero shot and few shot, but you should know basically. Any doubts? You guys can ping in chat that you guys don't have any doubts. We have a message. Cost cutting does not come in picture in this case, like the tokenization works both on input and output. A great question, Tarun. Cost cutting, to be honest, right? Everyone wants to control the output, not the input. In a way, because input, anyway, I'm typing it, right? It is anyway in my control because I am typing it. So I know what cost I'm going to incur. In general, your input cost is always lower because we saw it. उसमें कम दिमाग लगाना भी पड़ता है. But if you saw the pricing, right, it is $2.5 per million tokens, sort of, which is $2.5 compared to output token, which is $15. Like it's like 2.15 by 2.5, right? So it's a big number essentially, like 6 times. So the idea is always to control the output. Even if you give some response to ChatGPT, give some prompt to ChatGPT, right? You get an output which you have no control over it. It gives you a big ass passage. You have no control on that passage. So the tokenization, the cost cutting is in both the cases, input and output. But first, as a company, we try to make the output accurate. Then we do the optimization. Pehle we want the output to be accurate. Then we start doing the optimization. Does that answer your question? Good question, actually. You can assess. Yeah. So that was a fair question. So this is few shot, one shot, zero shot prompting. We'll go ahead. This is called as chain of thought prompting. So there are some fancy terms. So just be with me. If there is some kind of analysis that you're doing as a data scientist, as a data analyst or a business analyst, right? And the objective is like the revenue of Amazon or Flipkart has dropped 18% compared to quarter one, right? And you need to figure out why this is happening, etc., etc. So when you write these statements, that you ask the model, think before you answer, or think step by step, or walk me through your reasonings, the output dramatically improves. It basically, the model basically thinks before answering. It doesn't directly answer it. It tries to reason out that, okay, I have written this. Is this correct or not? Sometimes I'm not sure if you guys have done it. Use it Claude or something. In Claude, if it gives a wrong response, right, it corrects itself. It says, okay, you asked for this format. It shares the wrong format. Then it says this format is not something that you needed. I'll correct the format, and it auto corrects itself. So that is something you would see it with more practice. But this is what is called as chain of thought reasoning. So it is basically think step by step, walk me through your reasoning. It will be your logical reasoning that this is the data. First, we'll identify what is the potential causes for revenue drop. Then we'll rank them. Then we'll see what hypothesis is there, what data we have, etc., etc. So it is good for RCAs, case studies, etc. I'll go ahead. This is what some people have done. This is called as persona prompting. You assign the AI a specific persona. Now, this changes the depth, vocabulary, assumptions, and tone of the response. What does it mean? The way a senior data scientist or a senior analyst would interact with you in terms of asking question would be very different from a junior analyst, right? The way the person will be asking questions. There will be extreme difference in terms of depth, in terms of clarity, etc., etc. Right? So in persona prompting, there are many types of persona. We'll start one by one. This is system prompting. So basically, you give the system sort of a behavior, right? You sort of tell it to control the tone, and you set the boundaries essentially. So the system prompt basically defines the overall behavior, rules, and personality of the AI assistant. So an example can be of a customer support. So you are a customer support for assistant for an e-commerce company. You have to be polite and always provide solutions step by step in a step by step format. Right? So this is the prompt to the system. We are telling the system that, hey, you are a helpful AI assistant. You are not going to go offensive in terms of language, not going to use foul languages, etc. Now, this system prompt, right? These are some instructions which are set at a global level. This is something that the model will follow throughout the conversation, throughout your window, essentially. I think Prem asked in the last session, what is system instructions? System instructions and system prompting are very close. They're not exactly same. System instructions sit slightly towards the side. It is more of a guideline thing that these are the guidelines of the complete prompt. Here you can of course change. For now you want it as a customer support assistant. Later you want it as a travel assistant or something else. I don't know, right? Of course, within that window, the system will follow only output in that format, in that type of tone. It won't have any harmful words or offensive words, etc. But system instructions is slightly different, very close. It is like it is out of the scope actually. So you won't be able to set it like this. There is a different way to set it up. I'll just explain another part and then we'll open up for doubts. There is something called as rule prompting, right? A system prompt basically defines the overall behavior, rules, and personality. These three things of the AI assistant. These three things are defined. The overall behavior can be helpful. You're a helpful AI assistant, right? Rule prompting.
Ujjwal, who said these instructions, like system instructions? Who says these?
We do it basis the kind of response that we want. So we tell the system that, hey, provide all the responses in a polite fashion. So let's say you were creating a chatbot for Zomato, which we will do in the fourth session. But there you will give some sort of a similar instruction that, hey, have a polite language, don't use offensive language. So you would give that instruction to the system, to the model, that don't use any foul languages, don't use any, let's say, sarcastic languages. You are helpful, kind, etc., etc. So you give the instruction to the system.
So it would be for one time, or do we have to give the instruction every time we are in a session?
Yeah. So in general, when you are ideally, right, in your session, once you're given it, it will be followed during that session because we are using the free version. But if you are using the paid version, not paid version, if you're using the API keys, right, which is actually how businesses operate. So you have a field for system prompt, we have a field for rule prompt. And there in each API call, that information passes. So if I have to explain it more neatly, just give me a second. Can you give? So basically, I don't have it handy, so we'll just create it through OpenAI. So this is how it is given to OpenAI. So you have this role, which is system. We'll discuss this later. And you tell the system that you are helpful. Basically, you are setting up that behavior. And now this is just an example. So, but the point is, this is how it is done essentially when we use it for businesses. There is another field, temperature. I think we discussed in the earlier discussion. Now, the important thing is that all API calls are independent to each other. So they don't have context. This API call won't have context of the earlier API call. What does that mean? Let's say we wrote this thing, right? And if I write, give me questions. Now we learned something called as attention, right? So ideally, there were earlier sentences like these. These are influencing my output now. So all the information is here in this word. And that's why I'm getting questions on SQL only. So this everything is called as context or context window. Now, if I want different questions, right, I would need to open up a chat, different chat, which doesn't have the context of earlier. It doesn't have role definition, etc. Nothing is there. We have not defined you are a travel assistant, etc. If I write, give me some questions, it should be a generic response. What kind of questions we are looking for, right? Because we don't know. We are not given that information. Earlier, we gave SQL and usme we were writing some things, right? So it had context of the earlier information. So when we use in businesses, those are API calls. It won't have any context regarding the previous information. So you will always pass that system. You will always give these two information. Always. Similarly, this is different than this. So you have different chats, right? These two chats are different. Does that answer your question? You're slightly confused.
Yes, it does. Yep. Thank you.
Right. So this one bit is important. Thanks for that question. Whenever we start a new chat, right? this chat doesn't have information about the earlier chat, and the earlier chat won't have information about n-2 chat, unless and until you change some settings and you give the permission that everything will have information about everything. This won't be the case. So for example, there is a in Claude, I'm using projects. In projects, I'm working on, let's say, proctoring. In proctoring, if I use one chat, right, and if I open up another chat, this chat will have information about this chat because it's under the same project, right? So if you don't have, if you are not explicitly given the how should I put it, permission, or if you are not explicitly using a certain feature, all chats are sort of independent in nature, right? That is one. Second is you can connect this. Okay, we'll do this later, but you can connect some tools like Google Calendar to your paid version. So in Claude, I can connect Google Calendar, etc., which will check my chats and maybe set up meetings. It can do all those sort of things, right? Schedule emails, etc., etc. So we can connect our apps, etc. That is thing that we can do. But anyway, this is out of scope for now. We'll come back here. What is role prompting? Role prompting is basically you assign a specific role, right? Now, its purpose is the explanation style, vocabulary, control response. How do you want to control the response? Adjust the explanation level, etc. So you are saying you can act as a university professor, right? So there is something that you're telling the system. There's something that you are assigning a different role that you can give a system that you are a helpful assistant. The role that you are providing is act as a university professor teaching machine learning, or act as a university teaching machine learning assistant, something of that sort, right? Role works on different things. It basically tries, the purpose of role is basically on these parts: the explanation style, vocabulary, perspective, explanation level, explain it to 10-year-old kid versus 3-year-old kid, etc. We'll just differentiate this so that it is like clear explicitly. System prompt, it is like global level, right? If we are using the API, it is for that conversation. Else, its scope, if you are using the normal version, it will be for the entire conversation. It won't be for a specific task. So the scope is entire conversation across the session. Here, the purpose is the overall behavior and rules of the AI. Role prompt, you are assigning a specific persona or expertise. Here, it is not across the entire conversation. It can change. It is for a specific task. You might want to explain, let's say I want to explain something to you guys. So I would ask how to explain transformers to business analyst. So it will sort of understand, okay, you want to explain it to business analyst, this is how you can answer. But that will be limited to that specific scope only. It won't be across all my chats, essentially. Who sets this? This is generally set by developers or the applications. Now, generally, when we are developing something, like when you will create a chatbot in some time, and hopefully in some sessions, you would set this tone essentially. And here, this is done by the user that you can assign a role like it is a cybersecurity expert, something of that sort. Whereas you can give this in system from a behavior. You are a helpful AI assistant. Give some concise answers, etc. Right. So this is the major difference between system and role prompting. Right. Now the user prompt, it is basically the actual question that you want to ask. This is the input that triggers the response. For example, I'm asking the question, what is the difference between supervised and unsupervised learning? Basically, whatever prompt that you're writing, right? That is this. So you specify a task, you provide some data, and then you ask questions. So you get some output. So summarize the following paragraph in 3 bullet points. So there are 3 types of prompting: system prompting, role prompting, user prompting. You can go to ChatGPT, maybe try putting it out here. What is the difference between system prompting, role prompting, and user prompting. You will understand better. Now, in general, across your learning curvature, use GPT sort of for your learning, right? If you have not understood a topic, maybe regarding SQL or maybe regarding Excel or maybe let's say Windows function of SQL, right? Use GPT to learn through it. It will be more direct, more accurate. You can ask GPT to even suggest YouTube videos for that topic instead of going to the complete YouTube video, which doesn't make sense, right? So if you know what you're not good at, you can just put it here and you will get the output for it from your learning curvature. We have already discussed this. I'm not going to discuss this again. It is basically output format control. The reason this also comes as type of prompting is because the industry believes it. Else, it is like everyone uses it, right? So it's even if you don't give an official name, it is what is it is. Example: extract the key metrics from the paragraph and return only a JSON object. So the format here is metric name value. So this is the paragraph. So we'll have a metric, let's say revenue. We'll have the value $4.2 million. So this is something that we try to do Q1 or question 1, question 2, question 3, and so on and so forth, right? It is best for automation, data ingestion, report generation, and API integration. A lot of people don't think, but I feel this is one of the important parts. If you want to automate something, right? If I know this output is in this format, I can always automate things. That is more easier, more cleaner to do. So every time what used to happen, let's say in our case, Flipkart used to get data at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. yesterday. So today is 18th. So 18th data will be there till 12 p.m. 18th ho gaya. Then 3 a.m., 4 a.m. our tables will run. And we'll get data for 18th April on 19th 4 a.m. If the output format is not structured, we won't be able to use or populate our table, right? In general. Now there we are not using any AI, but if you are getting some output through AI, let's say you run an automation which summarizes news articles through Times of India or BBC for stock market purposes. So you need data in an automated format, right? If you don't get it, you won't be able to place your bets. That is the idea to control the output. Yeah, I think that is it, to be honest. This is a small UI. What is a good prompt? So you can give the role or persona. You can give the instruction, the context, constraints, the output format, what it should be. You'll get this slide as well. So no issues regarding it. So I'll take a pause up for questions. Do you guys have any doubts?
Usual, could you check the Excel sheet? I have added the prompt again. Convert the questions into JSON format.
Okay. Yeah. This is more cleaner. Yes. So if we guys see, right, it is more cleaner. Now we can use this information. Do we have any issue? We have a issue. So yeah. So this is what I was trying to say, that ideally, right, in the first question you have got 4 fields. In the second question you have 5 fields. Question 3 has 5 to 6 fields, right? And even the names are slightly different. So at times you need to tell the prompt that these are the 6 fields you require. These are the 6 fields. If there is no output in one of the fields, keep it as null. Don't be in a situation where you don't get that field, right? Else you won't be able to process it. So you will get all the 6 fields, but there will be 2 fields which will be empty. In this case, if you see, right, you have ID level type question. This is great. Now ID level type table schema, which is a different thing. And here you have something called as tables, which is again a different thing. You have columns, but ideally your table columns is your table schema. And at the end of the day, the table schema is, so you're getting a different column for the same thing. That's why it is better that you here itself give a one shot prompt, like one example. This, maybe let's pick this example, that the output should be in this format, because this is what I was saying, that the LLM doesn't stay consistent to the output that you want. So we have same data in different columns, which we don't want, right? So, but in terms of output, this is good. Yeah, in terms of output, this is good. Yes, you might have seen this one thing. There is this JSON coming up. There is something called as regex, or regular expression. So what we do is, this is how actually the output comes. Then we run a regex operation. This is something that you don't need to learn. It is fine. It is regular expression. And then we remove this backticks and JSON, etc. And then we process the data. That is how processing happens. Right? So yeah, you guys can ask any question to GPT as well. What is the difference between system prompt, since I've just taught you this, versus role prompt? Provide certain examples. Now, the way I'm writing prompt, right, this works only for the reason this is not something which I'm going to repeat again and again. In business, you will run that prompt again and again for different skills, for different number of questions, for different number of question types, for different days. Exactly, right? So ideally, can I make this prompt better? The answer is yes, I can make this prompt better. I can write, maybe I'm teaching business analyst students, etc. Right? So what is the definition? Let's say what kind of output we are getting. It is an instruction given to AI. It defines the global behavior, personality, rules, something which we have talked about. It has given the highest priority. Got it. So it has written, this is how the output, this is how we give the input actually when the developer sets it. So the role is system. You are a strict math teacher. Strict word is important here. Only give step-by-step solution. Now, there is a role prompt. This is not official AI terms, but okay. This has been removed now, but there it was there. So we had this thing as well. Now people are putting role into content itself. So I believe it is GPT 5.3. So it is not currently API term. That means you will have only this thing and this thing in OpenAI. So system and user will only be there. Within user, you will have the role, act as a strict math teacher. So that
Ujjwal,
is-
sorry to interrupt. Are you sharing your screen?
Oh, yes, I am sharing my screen. Oh, no one. Okay, that is sad. I thought you guys. Okay, so I just wrote this example. What is the difference between system prompt versus role prompt? And I was just telling that this is the global behavior, personality, rules, boundaries, something which is already there in the slides. This is how we give it to the developer. Developer gives it to the OpenAI. Basically, we write this code that you are a strict math teacher, only give step-by-step solution, right? What bases the new documentation? Role prompt is not a API term, but we include this into user itself. So you have role, user, and the role is written here itself. Act as a strict math teacher, solve some task, whatever task it is. So it was there earlier. Now it is not there, at least in this system. I would need to check it. But yeah, I was sharing the screen essentially. So you can play with it, try to understand how role and system prompts are there, what is user prompt, understand it. You know? So I'll stop the screen share. I thought I was sharing my screen, but yeah. So I'll switch off the recording. We will discuss doubts, if any. I believe we have answers almost all the questions which were asked. So yeah, let me stop the recording.
Recording stopped.
You guys, if you guys have any doubts, I will be here for the next 5 to 10 minutes, or maybe more, depending on your doubts. Let me launch the poll as well.
Yeah. By the time you launch, I have a question as well.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Nidaya. So I'm working as an business analyst currently, and we are actually not doing all this stuff. We have a team of backend developer, front-end developer, and a team of AI engineers who are actually developing the code, and we have the AI-powered dashboards. We are not into creating that manual cleanup and removing duplicates and everything. Everything is just coming from the code, and it is being displayed there.
Okay.
So in that case, how we can keep our role intact? Because if everything is being automatic, because what we have done in this course, it was all manual, where we were cleaning the sheets, presenting the data, adding the slicer, and looking a more presentable dashboard. Even the more interactive dashboard is coming from the AI powered engineers team, and it's all automated. Nothing is required manually over there. How we are keeping our role intact? What is the thing? How it will help us? Because I don't find anything, whatever I have learned, it can help me into the visualization, but it is not helping me in any of the way to be a productive.
It depends on the role actually. So in your case, right, is your role more towards cleaning and creation of dashboard? Is that the
No,
right
it is
understanding?
more into the stakeholder management, getting the requirements and working for the closure of the requirements, and more into the requirement gathering, elicitation, and more discussion of the feasibility, what can be implemented and what cannot be.
Right. So this is what I believe you are in is more towards managerial side of things, that you need to manage the stakeholders. You have got XYZ requirements, and then you need to pass. Let's say you get some requirements from engineers or developers or design teams. So you need to pass requirement from one team to another, right? So there, I believe,
Provide the clarification to the teams.
yeah. So there, first, of course, whenever someone gives you any requirement, right, you ask why it is required, what things it is going to benefit, what is the ROI, what feature it is going to improve, what is it going to be the impact. Because when you give the requirements to the developers, right, they ask these questions: that why are we developing this? Why do we need this data, etc.
I am not concerned about the my role. I'm asking you this question. See how fast the time is changing. The things
Right.
which we are doing manually, it is being automated very soon.
Yes.
So how this is helping us? How this course is gonna help us? This is my question. So if everything is being automated and we have a team of AI engineers who are actually taking care of creating dashboards and pulling the data from the database, they are not doing anything manual. So how we gonna survive?
So the answer is currently your skill is not getting automated. So when we saw SQL questions, right, you need still someone who has expertise on SQL, like the subject matter expert, who will validate that questions, right? Are these questions good enough to be in the question bank? We can't directly rely on uh, directly the output that we are getting from the LLM. Plus, no one in general relies completely on LLM. I believe automation is one thing, dashboarding is one thing. But as of now, I feel eventually it will get automated, to be honest. I won't be, things will get automated. But I believe during that time also you will learn AI, right? The way you are learning right now, you would do those things that others are doing. It's not that difficult. As I'm saying, right? By the end of the session, we will create how to create a chatbot, how to work on things. But the point that I'm trying to say that whenever you have a task, right, that task directly can't be completed by LLM. It is not, the trust is still not there, essentially. In finance companies, in healthcare, there is strict AI no as of now. Will it change in future? The answer is yes. We are also using AI, but we are using it as a helper tool. So if I want to write SQL queries, right? So I let AI write my SQL queries, get the insights, and work on the insight. Why this is happening? Whom should I reach out? AI does tell me everything, but it is all over the place essentially. So the decision making power still rests with me essentially. So I don't think that you won't be relevant if that is what you are being concerned about.
Okay.
I believe you're thinking too far. Yeah, because if
You
you
are not thinking too far. I'm just thinking, what is the purpose of doing that course when even I can't use, then it don't even require that. We have everything is automated. So that was my concern is. And coming to the today's session, that whatever we have learned, it was all about the prompt engineering,
today's prompt engineering, yes,
right? How we can give the right prompt so we can get the exact output
output, yes,
what we are expecting. Because if we are giving anything to ChatGPT, Gemini, or anything, we will get lot of stuff which is actually irrelevant, or maybe
yes,
most of that the data which we are getting we don't want, because even a single change will make a lot of difference whenever you are putting and you are playing with ChatGPT. This is something from where you have started and where will you end. So, what would you like that for the prompt engineering? If I go and search for the courses and even for the institutional and the company side, we have lot many things. What is the exact thing we need to search for the prompt engineering so we can go through that? Okay, this thing we need to perform.
I can suggest you the courses. Honestly, I think it will be waste of your time. It's not something which is the reason for that is you have learned it, right? If you, to be honest, paid attention, right? It is not something which is a lot different. So I'll maybe just give me a second. Share one of the courses for you right away. But the point that I'm trying to say that uh, you won't learn anything extra or anything crazy is what I'm trying to say. So let me just give a free course through YouTube. Maybe Free Code Champ is one of the places where you can learn prompt engineering, or there is a course by Google as well on prompt engineering. Or if you want, right, let me just present my screen. So I'll stop the recording, right? The way prompt engineering is not, to be honest, that difficult. So if I just search prompt engineering, so the full course is right. It is of how much? 30 minutes, 40 minutes. You already know it, is what I'm trying to say. So you can go through these courses, but it won't help you, is what I'm trying to say. Like, do one of these courses, but it is just half an hour. You already know it, is what I'm trying to say. It's just that you have not applied it. So I can think of some examples if you want. And in the next session, right, I can give you one case study. Is that okay? Like this was one of the case studies, right? I'll give you one case study in the next session. You work independently and then you reach out to me through LinkedIn or through mail. Is that okay?
Yeah, that will work for me.
Yeah,
Sure.
because point that I'm trying to say कि search across the YouTube, right? You won't get like 40 minutes के ऊपर का है नहीं वो exercise. मतलब it's not 40 minutes is also too much to be honest. But yeah, so you would get it. मतलब, it's not that difficult. Yeah. Any other questions? Anyone else?
Thank you, Joel. And one more thing, that is the new air that we are seeing, that new something is new in the air. Although everybody is using the chat GPT, but even though they want to look at that, it is not being copied from there.
Although everyone is using Chat GPT, they don't want. Can you
To
repeat
be
it?
known that it has been copied from chat GPT.
Yeah. That is there. But if you read some post, right?
Because
Early,
most of the time I'm using the prompt like give me the less robotic, more human answer. This
Mhm.
is what I'm actually trying to put, but somewhere that,
Humanize answer.
yeah.
Yeah,
So how
got
it
it.
could be improved, how we need to improve it, that when we are presenting a report or any analysis, we are obviously that what you have said earlier, that we are taking an insight, we are optimizing it, creating the report, and then we are sending it further. So how this thing can be improved?
Right. So what you are saying is to improve the model. Actually, that won't ever happen. We always need someone to blame. In this case, it is you. The moment you use and tell, okay, I've got this report from ChatGPT, the ownership will lie with ChatGPT. No, that won't be the case. We need someone to blame at the end of the day. कहीं पे भी हो. For example, BSNL lay, led a lot of employees layoff, right? That happened. So they gave that ownership to McKinsey or BCG. They said that lay off these number of people. So your ownership would real that you would go through ChatGPT output, you would change it, you won't directly consume it. You would just pick important information from it and then put it there. For example, if I'm not wrong, Deloitte generated Australia's bank report through ChatGPT and they fired Deloitte, essentially. Something on those lines have happened, right? So we always need someone who will take responsibility. So in this case, it will be you. So whatever report that you produce, right? Even though it is from ChatGPT, even though your manager is writing mails on ChatGPT, that is a different story. But it should be validated by you. You should go through the responses and then write it. You can't directly copy and paste it. We need people. That's how humans work. But someone has to take ownership. So even if I write or copy code from Claude, right? Still the ownership rests with me that Ujjwal didn't proofread or Ujjwal didn't go through the code again, which Claude gave. Ujjwal just copy pasted Claude's code and put it here. Then there is no need of Ujjwal.
Optimization is always required.
Sorry?
Optimization is always required then whatever the
Yeah,
output given the day.
optimization is required, but a bigger part is testing is required. So if let's say I'm copying Claude's code and directly putting it there, there is no need of me essentially. You can also do it. It's just about writing good prompts. But the issue here is that is not the case. I need to go through the code, make sure that things are correct. Directly, I can't implement it. If I implement it and someone asks, where are you assigning a Gemini key, or where is the code where you are changing the output, or in SQL, let's say you are writing a code for second highest salary. I'm just giving an example, hoping everyone would be familiar with it. Second highest salary. So someone can ask me, what function did you use? Did you use max function twice in a subquery, or did you use row number or dense rank or some other kind of a function? So I should know that because that's my code. That's it. Even though it's from Claude, it's my responsibility. So yeah. There are a lot of people hiring, so don't worry, is what I would say.
Thank you for your answers.
Anyone
Better if you could
else?
drop your LinkedIn ID.
Yeah. LinkedIn. Yeah. Any other question? Anything else? How has the course been for you? If I want to ask, this is Jen. Catch up with you guys. Others can drop off. Just want to understand how the cohort has been. I believe this is the last lecture of business analyst. This would mark the end of your cohort, right? Or is there other lectures as well? Can anyone answer? How has been the lectures so far?
I think the lectures were fine. Some of us were expecting that we'll also get some Python classes, but I think it was not a part of our course. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean the lectures were fine, and the course content is a bit, kind of, I would say, more theoretical.
Okay.
And yeah, and I think that there could be more projects in the course. I think not only 5, it should be at least around 10. Because, whenever I'm asking anyone regarding what is the job market, how the company is assessing the profile, everyone is saying that go for projects, nothing else. Don't,
Right.
don't read any theory, don't do anything, don't do any random certifications, just do projects.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Because thing is that you don't theory is one part, right? If you don't apply it, let's say if I had taught you the prompt engineering from start, you would be like, okay, I have to give an example. You won't get more feel of it. So I understand why people say it. Yes.
Plus,
Got
apart
it.
from that, I'm a bit confused that should I target a data analyst role or a business analyst role or a product analyst role. So I'm interested in product analyst because I want to make a career in product management. But again,
Uh,
I mean,
the answer to your question is you can target three of them simultaneously. It is not difficult. So uh, we were hired for analyst, but people jump from data analyst to business analyst. The main difference is that in your case, you might need to learn Python. There is a best course. Let me just share that across with you. There is a YouTube channel. I'm not sure if you guys know it. I learned through it. I had courses as well. So I have learned freecodechamp.org. I'm not sure if you guys know. Search
yeah,
on
yeah,
YouTube. Yeah, it has a good Python course. You can go through it. That's the only difference. As a business analyst, you have the advantage of business insights. At the end of the day, uh, in my opinion, uh, you people who are smarter provide insights. So data कोई भी ला लेता है, but data, the way to read the data and provide insight, right, gets you more money in general, and it's more exciting as well. As you go top of the ladder, people who work on insights or people who work towards building products get more this thing. So yes, data analyst is a great job. It is a high paying job. Higher 3 level up data analyst or 2 level up data analyst, right? That guy does the insights. So data analyst 1, data analyst 2, senior data analyst, and there is, I think, principal. So senior to principal people try to find some insights. Business analyst, mein, that is, I think, from level 1 itself that you need to get business insights. So I feel don't be fixated business analyst or data analyst. Start with SQL. Start with you have Python, and you have, if you want to go to product analytics, do one course on Google Analytics. That should be fine. You should at least go and try to give some interviews. Then you'll get some idea of what people are asking.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, that is it. ठीक है. I think very active batch compared to other batches. That's great. Good. If no other doubts, right? Otherwise can drop off. We'll end the meeting here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jwal.
Thank you, Dhruv. Have a good day.
Yeah. Have a good day. Have a great day. Bye. We have some doubt. Okay. Yeah, Prem. प्रेम यार ये सबकी कहानी है नोटिस पीरियड वाली 3 months नोटिस पीरियड राइट आर यू इन फाइनेंस कंपनी क्या फिनटेक फाइनेंस का रोना धोना रहता ही है इन माय ओपिनियन 3 months का and in your industry right everyone has 3 months notice period if I'm not wrong like Bajaj Finance AB etc so you're नहीं यार in my opinion you should first give the interviews दो negotiate कर लेते हैं बाद में but before you give any interviews right you should not resign because you don't know where you stand in the market it might happen that you might require more you need to मतलब कैसे क्रिकेट में एक बार खेल के देखना पड़ता है राइट पिच पे सो यू नीड टू सी प्ले थिंग्स नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड what kind of questions are asking what kind of topics are focused we as individuals right we also give interviews within 2 years not that we have to change jobs it's just that we need to understand where the market is going कहाँ पे चीजें जा रही है and once you get this thing out right बताने का 2 महीने का है at least get an interview try at this company that hey I can work only till this time there is this emergency that will figure it out but first maybe grab an interview see where you stand it should not be the case that you leave your job you don't have anything or anywhere to go and it's too much of a risk right I don't know what responsibilities that you have I don't know the job market right what profile you're targeting etc if you're targeting the same profile there are jobs but no need to take that risk in my opinion abhi Right. Yeah. So you need to be sure what profile you're targeting. Don't target everything. Take 2-3 months. Lead code, I'm not sure. Lead code, you're solving SQL or doing. So yeah, सोच लो 2 हफ्ते में SQL sort करना है. Work on SQL, then do it. This struggle is with everyone. You have your job in morning. You have some responsibilities at your home. You get night के 2-3 घंटे and you have to make most of it. So yeah, it's same story for everyone. तो थोड़ा मैनेज तो करना पड़ेगा. I yes. ठीक है. All the best. We'll connect next week. It will be a hands-on session. Uh, we'll create a chatbot. We'll create some automation workflows as well. If you want to automate WhatsApp messages for you, then you can do that. ऐसा कुछ करेंगे. तो ठीक है. चलो. Let's say bye bye.
Bye, Jor.